Hey, what's up? It's Avi. What's going on? So a while back, I made a video where I did this cool little arrangement of Eine kleine Nachtmusik by Mozart, and I've gotten some feedback asking for some tips on orchestration and arranging and stuff, so I thought it might be a fun idea to take this really super classic melody and arrange it for string quartet. This is you guys. I'm coming through for you guys. This is essentially the task at hand. We're going to take this left-hand part of the piano and turn that into these three parts here, the second violin, the viola, and the cello. So the first violin here is going to be taking the main melody, like the right hand of the piano is over here. So we're keeping it more or less the same. We're even going to keep most of the rhythm here and the articulations the same. Let's get started. So you see right here, the first thing that we can see here, we have this big old C major triad. So this arrangement is just in C major for simplistic purposes. We just have this C major triad with an octave on top there. And let's take that first chord and arrange that. Orchestrate that a little bit. This is not an orchestra, so it's not really orchestration, I suppose. First things first, we have that C in the bottom. It's important for this style of music to have the C and both C's, have the C and the octave, both roots, at starting at the beginning. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is pretty common. Certainly heard of. So we're going to keep that going. We're going to maintain the figured bass that we're using here. For example, we have the C major here going to this G7 over D. We're going to keep most of that, then going to this 1-6 chord, which would be a C major over E. So we're going to keep that. Now already we have this problem that we're running into where we only have 3 instruments, but we have 4 voices in that left hand of the piano. There are some things that we can do to make that fourth voice a thing. So right now we can just start off with this. I intentionally left out the octave because if we go back, this octave is maybe the second most useless chord tone here that's being used. Arguably you could say the fifth is the most useless, and that's probably going to be the next thing that we try and take out. Not too bad. Let's get another one happening. And not a thing. These are staccatos. Let's keep that punchy staccato type feel. Yeah. Okay, and now let's hear that. Great. Solid. So the way we have that going on here is we just have the same exact voicing of the C major chord just becoming the whole note right here. We can do that. Let's maybe test out another voicing here. So we have a C, right? That's going to be classic. Then we have this E in the viola. The thing about alto clef, this is what viola uses, alto clef, is that it's literally just one step below G clef or treble clef. When you're trying to make that distinction, a really, really quick and easy, dirty secret to reading it is just whatever note you want to do on treble clef, just go one below, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. We have the C, we have the E, we have the G. We just kind of are doing a straight triad here, except this G, if we were going to do a real triad. So this would be the same exact voicing over here. Right? It's the exact same pitch. Now there is one big problem with this voicing, however, and that's exactly that closeness to the G. As you can see right here, that exact G in that first violin is hit literally in this second measure and over here. This big moment here, and this G is being kind of encroached upon by the second violin. Not a problem, but when we come to this bar over here, it's going to be a problem then, because we're going to have this moment where there's a unison, and that's going to kind of take away from the separation of the parts. We're going to change this voicing a little bit. We're not going to do the triad, but how about this? If we look further into the melody, we can see that G is actually the nadir of the entire melody. The nadir is the lowest point of a melody. What we're going to do is we're going to take this G, bring it down to an E, and then we're going to take this E, bring it down to a G. Let's hear that all just pop. Nice. There we go. Bring these guys up to where they want them. And then bring you in. We'll see how this goes. Take off your staccato. Oof. So we took the staccato off because I wanted to get a better sense for how the voicing sounded. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, all right. Let's bring these to a mezzo piano. This E is sticking out to me in a way that I'm not a huge fan of. What if this is just a C? We literally just have C, G, C, no E at all. Just power chord. Yeah, let's just power chord it now. So we have this octave. You know what might be the right thing? Retain the octave here between the two upper voices and keep things... We still have an octave here between the violin and 2 and the violoncello. Make us an E down the octave where it was. So we have this 3rd followed by this 6th followed by an octave here. I think this is going to be it. Boom. Yes. Did you hear the difference between that? It really lets that melody soar over everything else. The E just gave a little bit too much color. It just felt a little too present for what we're trying to do here. One other thing that I didn't like about having the staccatos there, it just felt a little too short. On the piano here, the attack on the notes is just a little bit less intense. It's not quite as sharp as it is on a stringed instrument like a violin, a viola, or a cello. So the attack is actually already quite strong without a staccato, and the shortness of the note here creates a punch, which gives emphasis that we don't necessarily need because the attack of the note is already pretty sharp and pretty percussive in that sense. The instrument itself is different, and it's important to think about these types of things, about the way the instrument actually works, so that you can create the same type of effect that you want to with certain melodies that you're arranging. So you may be asking, Avi, my dude, why are we spending so much time on this first chord? This first chord is going to serve as the basis for how we arrange our voice leading moving forward. Voice leading is the way the voices of each chord move between the chords. This first chord is really going to set us up for how we move going on. So it's important to take a good amount of time to make sure that you're voicing this first chord properly. A lot of the work we do here is going to pay off as we keep going forward. Yeah, all right. Okay, that's perfect. Moving on. So we have in this 3rd bar here, we have this G7 happening here. We're going between the F and the D. I arranged this as a dominant 7th chord as a G7 over D, but we don't have to do that necessarily. Maybe this is a D minor, maybe this is a 2 chord, or maybe it's a diminished chord, a first inversion diminished chord. Why don't we play around a little bit with that, see what those sound like. So I want to keep the D in the root though, because I like that motion in the bass. So we're going to keep that D up here. The goal of voice leading is to make these voices move as little as possible. Say, let's try the D minor first. So if we're using D minor, then we need to have a D, an F, and an A. So right now we have a D here. This is an E. This can go down to a D or it can go up to an F. We have an F up here in the soprano, in the melody here. So why don't we go up to the F here as well? And C can go up to D if we want. Though we do already have upward motion in the bass. It's nice to introduce contrary motion. It's very pleasing with voice leading. So with the C can't stay the same unless we wanted to make it a D minor 7 chord. Let's bring that down to an A perhaps. DFA is how we spell a D minor chord. And this is just a straight triad at this point. We'll see how this sounds and we'll see. And then we'll alter it a little bit more. Not too bad. Definitely a fall, but it doesn't have the same kind of tension. There's a descent feeling, very like going to a minor. It doesn't have the same kind of tension, obviously, as a dominant 7th chord as you hear here. That 5/7, that certainly feels a lot more like Mozart and is a little bit more evocative for the period as well that Mozart was writing in. But this D minor does sound okay, but it is just a triad. I don't love just kind of making the triad thing happen because it's a little bit boring. It's a little bit too easy. So why don't we try that B diminished 7? That'll be weird. So now this can go down to a B like this. And this is on the, actually, that's the only thing we have to change. Now we have B, D, and F. So let's see how that's going to sound. It's going to be crunchy. Yeah, that sounds absolutely fine. So how would we make this a dominant 7th chord? Well, we keep the D, we keep the B, the F just needs to become a G. That's it. That's all we have to do to change that. All right. So what'll happen though is that once we lose that F over here out of the melody, we lose the dominant 7 tension, right? Let's see what I mean. All right, so we don't have the same tension by the time we get here, but the F is still in our ears. I actually really liked the way that diminished, how the diminished 7 diminished chord sounded. So let's just do that. All right, so we have the D, B. Let's bring that down to an F. Perfect. That's all we need. And then let's hear that back, maybe back from back here. Love it. Love it. Okay. Again, I'm going to keep the same figured bass. I'm going to keep the same inversion. So we have a C major over E over here. So we have, let's see what's going on here. These kind of plunky 8th notes. So we can do the same thing. In fact, do the exact same thing. Have these 8th notes. I'm going to do E. Perfect. This is an F. So we need a C, an E, and a G. So this is a B. That B definitely wants to go up to a C. Like that. So let's do that. Let's give it that. Let's give it what it wants. In fact, how about we just do it this way? That's a little bit easier. So all I did there is I copied that, pasted it there, and then just clicked Command down to bring it down the octave, and brought it a third up, or a third down, excuse me, to bring it to the C. Do the same thing here. We're on an F. Easiest one here, we're on an F to just go to G, because then we get all the chord tones. We have this E, G, C thing happening. Sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, we have that. We're going back to this. It's kind of doing the exact same thing, going back to that, in this case, the G7 over D. Maybe we keep this. Maybe keep the diminished. I'm going to do it this way and just change the voices. This goes down to a B. This goes down to a F. And this goes down to a D. Now this works because the 7th diminished really wants to resolve to 1, and we're essentially just going between 1 and 7 here, or 1 and 5 was how I harmonized it before. Wonderful, wonderful. Then we just bring that as the next part coming in. Oh. Yeah, everything's going down and then everything's going up. It's just all similar motion here. It doesn't sound awful because we have the oblique motion in the melody here, but that's not fantastic voice leading. So how about we change that up a little bit? Everything is going up from here, and now we don't want to do the same thing. We can do a number of things. We can either change this or change this. We don't want to change the bass note. We're really working here within the inner voices here. So we're in this C over E, this 1/6 chord, going over to this B diminished chord over D, which maybe we don't want, right? That's C. You can make the C here go to an F. That's not awful. Instead of going up, right? But then the F here needs to change, because then we can't have the 2 Fs. We don't want to double the 5th, especially a diminished 5th. Keep it how it is there and just change this one, right? So keep going the E up, F can go down to E here. That's okay to double the third. We also have a lot of C's happening in the melody, so that's okay. And hey, that actually might be all we need to do to make this a little bit more interesting. We have the F going down to E, the D going up to E. You have this unison happening over here between these two voices, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they're doing it through contrary motion, so that kind of helps. Let's see how it sounds. So I think what instead what we're going to do is we didn't do the dominant seventh here, but I do think we're going to do it here for bar 6. I think that it's going to work out a little bit better and add some more color into our harmonies. So let's take this from here, paste it here, and let's find our voice leading. So we are at a C. We're at this 1/6 chord, C over E. We're trying to do a G7 over D, or maybe just a G over D. So that's going down to D. That's can stay at G, go down to B, down, the same, down. That seems fine. Let's see how that sounds. Cool, cool. Does this work if we just take the same voicing and apply it here? Okay, all right. So let's bring this again. Now let's re-voice this so that we can keep the bass notes happening. In fact, I'm going to give myself the bass information for each measure going forward. That's going to be really helpful. So we have the F up here. So now we're doing this G7 with the F actually in the bass. We have the F up here, really close second happening, which is going to sound really beautiful. We have this F, G, make this a B. Or we can make another G. Same, up, down. Yeah, okay. So we have motion. We have contrary motion between these two voices and the soprano. We also have oblique motion here, which with the viola. Viola players, I'm sorry. You're looking at exactly what you're normally looking at, just the same note over and over again. I'm so sorry. Something stood out to me there in a way I didn't like. Maybe it was the octave between the B there. No, that sounds fine, actually. That sounds fine. Okay, so now we're just going right back to this C-type deal. It looks like I'm just jumping between... while just maintaining this C in the bottom. So let's do that. We want this to go to the... right, we'll just keep that here for now. Where does our bass go after that? G, F. Okay. F, F, E. So we got the bass part in. That actually helps quite a bit. All right, let's keep moving. So we're doing this 4-quarter notes thing. C. We're going down to this E because we did that F over here. That dominant 7th chord. So now we're in the E, and this is just another C chord, I believe, right? Yeah. This is just another C chord. We have this alteration going on here. So we had, instead of doing a straight triad, I wanted to have this kind of cluster here resolve down to the C. So, I'm so sorry, violas. I'm literally just going to give you another G. Perfect, do that. I kind of liked the movement between the C and the G here. Kind of going between the voice of the triad there. That's usually something that might happen more in the bass, that type of movement. Ooh, I think we might want the staccato on this. Bum, 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 right? Instead of, I mean, I guess it could be eighth notes as well. But that doesn't feel quite right. There we go, okay. Let's hear just that, though. without that. I don't hate that. There's so much movement happening in the violin part. I think that works better for this instrumentation. In the piano here, you can get away with a lot more because the piano really you can really orchestrate with the piano. Truly, there's so many voices, literally 10 voices available to you, 10 fingers or 8 fingers and 2 thumbs to be more technical. We have to actually rein things in a little bit here when we're talking about the string quartet. So I think leaving things as they were with less movement is a little bit better. Not using the triad and going back and forth between the triad there. It's a little bit better. Okay, we're literally just looks like we can just do that again. Like that, and then take away our our 4th beat. You know what we could do is maybe move the bass round a little bit more. So we have some movement, right? So what do I mean by that? So we have the F going down to the E here. Well, we did that. You can go down to E to the C, excuse me. Then maybe you go down to the G because it's this chord tone in C. We can do that, not a huge deal. We already kind of established the chord with a different voicing, so we're not really doing anything wrong or different. Not bad. Not bad. Make that a C, G, and this would have to be, we would need an E. That would be fine. Up, down, up, same. Perfect. Right, so contrary up, contrary down, oblique motion staying the same. This one's going up to a G. Let's hear it. Not bad. It didn't encroach too much, and there was a little bit more movement. Nice. So let's take a look at our voicings here now. So now we have a little bit more going on, right? So we have another dominant 7th chord, Spicy Boy. And then we have just this A minor triad, which is beautiful. That's really nice voice. I see why I went for that there. That's really pretty. Okay. Well, this one's a little bit easier since there's only 3 voices. It's actually a whole lot easier. So let's just put that in as it is. G, A. So that was just A. Okay. F. Say E. And this. C. Oh, I think that should just G. That should be B. Yeah, G, B, F. Perfect. When you're voicing chords, the 5th is the one that you can leave out. If you're kind of struggling for space and struggling for voices, leave the 5th out. The 5th matters less because in a major, minor chord, and 7th chords, the 5th stays the same. So because it's not a color tone, and when I say color tone, I mean it doesn't affect the chord quality or the color of the chord. So we can leave the 5th out because we still get all the information we need from the 3rd and the root, really. So the 5th is the degree that we don't need to put in here. And we also already kind of have it up here, and then it's going down. This is a really nice descending sequence, what's going on here. Who knew? Mozart knew how to write good melodies. Shocker. There's so many more voices on piano. You can sort of get away almost with this type of voicing. But it's a little bit trickier here because of the F in the 7th here. That's a counterpoint issue. You're not supposed to, in a voice leading, you're not supposed to double the 7th. Sounds good though, right? So if this isn't a 7th, that means we need it to be a G. Oh, I'm sorry. Or it could be a D. D would be fine. Going up to the E. Then we have all this similar motion happening, and I don't like that. So let's keep it at the G, actually. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, I'm already hearing it. I'm already starting to hear things a little bit differently from how things are happening here. It's probably going to wind up about the same. You can sort of hear the motions of the voice a little bit kind of forming. So we have that. And this is also half notes over here. And we're going to this let's see. We have an F A. This is a 2 chord. It looks like I made this a 2 over a D over F chord. Let's make this it's a B. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a C. So we can make this a D. Make this stay on the F. That's perfect. Oh wait, let's make that go down to an E, D over F. I would love to go back to the F. D, F, D. Yeah, that's fine. A, D, like that. Which is fine. Perfectly fine. It's the same here. Same register as well. Then we went to this, this really beautiful, just G7 without the D. Right, that went down to a B, yeah. Which is fine. We have this third down by step, third down, descending line happening here in the mirroring the descent actually here going on in the violin. So that going down to B, which maybe we'll change that. Who knows? And that's a E, C, just 2 notes. I love that. We keep the G happening there. Cool. Contrary motion happening there. Yes. C, B, C. Let me have this E. Kind of just. All right, so we gotta figure out to do something with our E. Perfect. And I want all these to be staccato. Boom. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Love it. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, let's just finish off these last these last 2 bars, 3 bars. Okay, so it wasn't exactly the same, but it is similar. This E, yeah, G to A, G A F F G A G A G G C. Yeah, okay. So we're doing that to A minor, that G7 to A minor thing again. So why don't we use that same voicing that we used from before? That ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da. That's cool. Sets the same tone up over here. Right? But then we're going to be different, right? It sets us up for the same thing, and then we change it. We actually are going into our cadence, actually. So there's a couple of things that we can do here. I chose a 2-5-1 motion over here. We can also use cadential motion, which is when we have a 1 chord in second inversion, which is when the 5th is in the bass. In this case, it would be the G. So we have G, then we need a C and an E. C, E is right down there. Oh no, we wanted half notes. Right there. E is the same. Perfect. We have oblique motion, downward, downward. Love it. Okay. So that's fine, right? And then these would resolve to a G, B, D. So G, B, and then this would also go down like that, right? So we have this motion going down, and then we have our final chord resolving like so, C up to C, and then up to E. And this stays on C. Keep that staccato for articulative purposes. Articulative. I don't know if that's a word. Articulative. So there it is, actually. Well, look at that. This end part was a lot easier to do than the beginning, right? And notice how much this helped. Like, everything is connected. Everything is connected. Let's hear this half of the end. We'll see if we want to change anything. I didn't quite like that. The cadential motion, I didn't like it. In fact, totally fine to do all C's here. Was the E the thing that was really messing with me? You know what we can do? We can have the E, bring the F there, so we have the cadential motion going to a 5-7. That does work. Let's hear that one more time. Okay. Now let's hear it how I did it here with the 2-5-1 instead of the 5-6-4 to 5-3. The cadential 6-4, which is what we were doing here. So we're going to bring this down to the F. Then we needed an A, like that, and a D. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wonderful. Love all of those motions. Down, up, down, up. Love it. Yeah, I mean, the 2-5-1 is really common for the classical period. I mean, it's common, period. You know, just because it sounds really good. But the classical period of music history is where you really see the 2-5-1 used quite a lot. So I'm going to keep it here because I used it here, and I thought the cadential 6-4 just sounded a little too Haydn-y, maybe a little too like basic, a little too not crunchy enough, even with the G going to the G7. I wanted more color for that chord leading into the penultimate chord. So I like that. Okay, that it's an inversion. We're going up to the dominant. We have the big dominant motion. What if we choose a little bit more space? Spread this out a bit. That could be fun. Like we talked about before, it's very common to have them all be the same C. It could all be C's right at the end. Really locks in that we're going back to C. That C is the home, that C is the end. Let's see how this sounds without the F, without the G7. Great. It's really up to us at this point. These are both correct. Let's bring the F back in. Keep the G down there. I think I like the motion down there. So, up, up, down. Maybe not. Okay, we're going to keep it like that. I like having the E in there because it still gives us that major flavor while still having the intensity of just 3 Cs in different registers, which is cool, different octaves. All right, let's listen to the whole thing and see if anything stands out to us. We want to change, or maybe something sounds like we want to sort of modernize some of the harmony or something. I don't know. Let's see. This is already pretty long, so maybe we won't do any of that. Maybe next time. All right, that was good. Let's go over the articulations a little bit. I kind of feel like I want these to have slurs like that. I think that's going to sound really nice. Yeah, way better. Way better already. Going to do the same thing here. And make that look a little bit nicer. All right, so we added those slur lines. There's really not much else to do. Let's listen to it one more time, see if anything catches our ear. Oh, right here. I want that to be staccato. These guys here, these should be slurred. What I'm doing here with these slurs, I'm really trying to think about the way the bow is moving across the strings. And that's really important when you're writing for another instrument, especially an instrument that you don't play yourself. Like, I don't play violin, but I do play guitar, and I do understand how the violin works. I did play violin in the 3rd grade, so maybe that counts. Did it for a year. It counts. But I know how the violin is played, and I know the way it's played. I know what will feel idiomatic, what will feel natural to it. And these da-da-da-da-das, these 16th notes will be a little bit better with some legato. And it's just the 16th notes. And it's going to add some nice punctuation between these slurred notes, fast slurred notes, and these longer notes. Did you hear that? It sounded a little bit more natural. Now it's just like, oh, wait, is this a real violin? So much of the time, the problem with virtual instruments is less so the quality of them and more so the composer not using the instrument as it exists in real life. That goes so far beyond, like using notation programs too. The same is in audio. Treat everything as you would in the real world and you're going to get the best result. Already, this one part just came to life so much more with those slurs. Let's hear it without and with it again. Certainly not awful, but it definitely does sound more musical with them. It's the contrast between the attack of the notes. For me, that is signaling a little bit more musicality there. That variety in the attack of the notes. These I don't think should be slurred. These feel much more like they're supposed to be sharp and on their own a little bit more. So I think I liked those as they were. I don't know. What about these guys here? Let's listen to this part again and see if they should use some slurs. Yes, absolutely. It's just like that. I think this. Now I think about it. Let's listen to it again. Ooh. I don't know if I'm sold on that, actually. At least not blanketly like that. You know what I might be sold on, though? Is just that first. Just those two. Absolutely. Way more musical. Going from the and of 3 into 4, we have the slur, but we have the attack of the bow on the and of 4, which adds as a little bit of a punch. It like kind of pushes us a little bit more towards the downbeat. We have this trill as well, which makes that hit a little bit harder. It's just a little bit more clarity with the bow as opposed to having it all be slurred. Looking good, looking good. I'm eyeing this part here to make sure. I remember playing with it a little bit, trying the slurs and on the slurs, and this is sort of what I came up with. Let's hear it one more time. Really listening to the violin and the articulation as it goes into this bar here. I think that sounded fine. I don't think it's going to get much better than that. We can try doing a big slur over all of it, kind of like a phrasing slur, legato slur in that sense. Yeah, that feels. I don't hate that, actually. That actually does sound pretty good. It's a little bit closer to what I hear in my ear when I'm thinking about this. So what's happening here is this like slur line, this big legato line is asking the AI, I suppose, asking note performer to hit these less hard. Have them be a little bit more continuous, have the attack be a little bit less hard. I'm going to keep the slur line because I like the sense of legato over here. Oh, that's actually, I did not like that. This, I think, will be better like that. Like in the other way. It'll just make the downbeat here feel a little bit more downbeat-ish, I suppose, which is what we want. Well, maybe we don't want that because we want that to hit, but I think that's going to hit just fine anyhow. Let's hear it from the end here, see how it sounds. Wonderful. The last thing I want to do, and this really shouldn't be the last thing that we do, what we're going to do is want to add a little bit more dynamics here. So we just kind of started everything with a blanket, mezzo piano, and mezzo forte with a violin up top. That's fine. But we could make this a little bit more interesting. How about we have a decrescendo here, bring you guys to like a pianissimo, then we'll do the opposite here. We'll crescendo back to a mezzo piano, just to have a little bit more musicality here. Let's see how that sounds. Leave the violin alone for now. I want to make that pop a little bit more. Okay, that was fine. I think what I actually want to do though is bring those add a mezzo forte. I think I'm actually going to sort of do the same thing here. Go to piano, and then crescendo to a forte. And then that's going to set up the dynamic scheme for the next 4 bars. We'll see how that sounds. This might be a little bit overdoing it. Let's make a decision about this part here. This is a big structural part. So this can either be really loud or really soft. I was initially leaning towards loud, but I think I want it to be pretty soft now. And we're going to have this big decrescendo going up like this. Shift H to do that. And yeah, let's see how that goes. And maybe a crescendo even further. Up to here, and then it goes down. A little bit louder for that. And I don't think I loved this. There we go. In fact, that'd be pianissimo. I'm gonna have you do a crescendo up to a mezzo piano. And I want you down again to here. I want you to be quiet as well. Okay. And these are all at piano 3 Ps, pianissimissimo. Nice. So what I'm going to do, let's do that. Bring you up to piano. Then bring you back down to pianissimissimo. Yeah. Then it's going to get louder right after that because it's going to be a nice repeat. And having this part be quiet and that part be loud right before the end is going to be some nice contrast. That was nice. That's nice. In fact, I think I want the slur now. Up there. Yeah, let's hear that. Nice. I'm gonna do the same thing, except we're gonna change that. We're gonna now start at piano, crescendo into a mezzo forte. Actually, no slur the second time. I want you to go up, and I want y'all to be, let's say, mezzo forte for now. No, let's bring you up straight forte, just like that. A little bit harsher the second time. Better. So I don't think I'm gonna like this. I think I want to get louder and then go back to being quiet. Okay, maybe I like that more than I thought it would be. Let's see how that feels. I think I want to bring the slur back too. A little more dramatic. I like piano better. Okay, not bad. Take it from the top, and I think we're done. Wonderful. Wonderful. In fact, the only change I would make is to make you mezzo forte. In terms of playback. Oh. Okay. Okay, from the top. This feels a little awkward. It's a little too intense. So this should be mezzo piano, I think. Wonderful. That's it, guys. That's it. We did it. We took Eine kleine Nachtmusik from our piano arrangement, changed the instrumentation, arranged it for string quartet. Thanks so much for coming on this journey with me. This definitely turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I think this was really fun, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. If you are interested in learning some of this stuff, especially learning how to make a melody like Mozart here, go and check out my free guide, 7 Ways to Write a More Effective Melody. Over 1,000 people have downloaded this thing already, and it's way more than 1,000. And it's great. It has a lot of tools that will help you make your melodies so much better than you could think, and they're repeatable. You can just keep churning them through these 7 steps, and you're just going to have a better melody every single time. Head to justwritemusic.com to get your free copy. There's a link down in the doobly-doo. Thanks so much for watching, for hanging out with me today. I'm Avi, and don't forget to be awesome.